We're going to talk about the planet before we get to the show. I think we can all see that the materials we use in this industry, the processes in this industry, and the life cycle of those products, they're having a negative impact on the people and the planet. And I think we could probably agree that we can and we should work together in some way to improve that. And we do know from this podcast that we are better together, aren't we? Look at the community that we've created together. Look at the things that we've achieved because we were together. So I want to tell you about an opportunity. It's called Interior Design Declares. The United Kingdom has started the very first country group chapter of Interior Design Declares, and they are making a call to action. They are asking the USA and any other country that you might be listening from to join together and start a country chapter in your country. Interior Design Declares is a voluntary pledge that you make to improve and learn together to lower the impact that this industry is having on the planet. It is a network of designers, suppliers, and educators all working toward the same goal. And guess what? They don't care where you are personally or professionally in the journey. They just know you have to start somewhere, and why not with them? So this is a call to you. If it resonates with you, if this is something you have wanted to get involved in, but you weren't sure how or where to do it, Interior Design Declares needs 5 people from each country to be a co-founder volunteer. And then once they have that, they will guide you on how to run the group, how to share the learnings, and how to inspire and campaign together to lead your country and the industry to do better, to be better. Now, if you are interested, you can learn more about the UK group at interiordesigndeclares.co.uk. And if you're even just a tiny bit interested in wondering what it would mean to start a chapter in your country, you don't have to worry about being obligated. Just interested is all you need to be. If that's you, drop an email to info@interiordesignDeclares.co.uk and put in the subject line, Luann sent me. Okay, so info@interiordesignDeclares.co.uk, and we will also put these links in the show notes. So you got a little interest, take a little step, take a little action, make a big change. Welcome to A Well-Designed Business. My name is Luann Nigara, and I'm so glad you found this podcast. Together with my husband Vince and our partner Bill, we have grown our company WindowWorks from the ground up. So I know and I understand the challenges you face in running your interior design business. I also know that your talent alone isn't enough to ensure your success. So on this podcast, we talk about strategies and practical steps to help you grow your business. But make no mistake about it, we have our share of fun here too, mixed in with those aha moments that I love so much. This isn't fluff. Nobody has time for that. Whether you are a new interior designer or a seasoned designer, I am here to help you create and to manage the kind of interior design firm that you dream of. It's straight talk and it's action. Are you ready? Let's get started. Hi, welcome to A Well-Designed Business. It's Power Talk Friday. I have a question for you. When you hear the word sustainability, what comes to mind? Do you picture compromise? Do you think higher costs? Do you think fewer choices? What if I told you that sustainability doesn't have to mean sacrificing beauty, functionality, or your client's budget? Today, I'm joined by Megan Thompson. She is a designer, educator, and the founder of the Interior Design GreenList. And that's exactly what she's here to show us, how sustainable design can be smart, stylish, and surprisingly accessible. After earning her degree in sustainable interior design, Megan realized that turning that knowledge into action in the real world was way harder than it should be. The resources weren't there, the information was scattered, and nobody had time to hunt it all down. So, like a true entrepreneur, she built the solution herself. Her platform, Interior Design GreenList, is making it easier than ever for you to implement sustainable practices, regardless of your background or experience. Whether you're ready to become the go-to sustainability expert in your area, or you're just starting to explore what this all means for your business, Megan has the insights and tools to help you take action. Now, before we get to the show, I want to thank our sponsor. Have you ever felt like that the chaos of managing your projects, tracking client communications, and staying organized was holding your business back? Well, it probably is. And you know what? You're not alone. That's exactly why My Doma Studio exists. My Doma Studio is your all-in-one designer toolkit created by designers for designers. It's built to streamline your processes, track every project detail, keep your client communication on point, and give you back control of your time. And I've said it before and I'll say it again. Systems and processes are the key to reaching the next level of profitability. And My Doma Studio, well, My Doma makes it easy to implement systems, easier than ever. Ready to take the leap? Go to mydomastudio.com/a well-designed business and get 20% off your first 3 months. Don't wait. Your future, your more organized self will thank you. Okay, here's Megan. Hey, Megan, thanks so much for joining me on A Well-Designed Business today.
Thanks, Luann. I'm excited to be here.
I'm looking forward to this conversation too, because, I often say, and you told me you listened to the podcast, I often say you had me at the hello line and your hello line was, I want to teach your audience, Luann, how sustainability can seamlessly integrate into interior design without sacrificing beauty, functionality, or budget. And so I like that. I like that sentence. And I'm going to ask you to do exactly that. But before you go into that, Megan, I'm a little unclear on, I'm kind of like enough to be dangerous on it. Like green design, sustainable design, vegan design, biophilic design, wellness design, like all of these areas, I think I know enough to know that they're definitely not the same. They're definitely not interchangeable, but I'm not so sure what the distinction is really with green and sustainable that you do versus some of these others. Would you give us a little tutorial on that before we get into this?
Yes, absolutely. I'd be happy to. So I would classify, and this is just my view, that sustainability encompasses all of those things you just mentioned. So the goal of sustainable design is to have a lower impact and make sure that humans are happy and healthy in the spaces that we create. So within that, we've got, that vegan, you mentioned vegan design, that is still environmentally aligned because that way of life does reduce impact on the planet. Then you've mentioned biophilic, that has an absolutely incredible impact on the well-being of occupants of our spaces. And then wellness, which is a totally different line, right? Wellness is really huge this year. I was just at KBIDS, lots of products coming out for wellness. And how do we integrate those products into our design to make our occupants, our clients, have a healthy way of life and then also reduce our impact to the planet. So I think there are lanes you can drive down, but they all are on the sustainability highway.
Okay. And so they intersect, right?
Yeah.
But for example, just because something is vegan doesn't mean that it would be technically classified necessarily as green or sustainable sometimes, right?
Yeah. And a really good example would be a vegan leather. We hear that term a lot, either whether it's fashion or in the interior design industry. A vegan leather is often made of polyurethane or polychemicals, right? Oil-based products. And those do have an impact on our clients and our health. So for our vegan designers, sometimes the best environmental choice that's also vegan is to just not use something that looks like an animal and go in a totally different route instead.
Oh, interesting. That's so interesting because I have to tell you, every time I go shopping for new green clothes for every event coming along, anytime, like every once in a while, I'll work with a stylist at the Nordstrom's or wherever we are, and she'll bring me in. And I'll be like, oh no, I can't wear leather in front of designers. I can't, but I can wear faux leather. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, but if you were really with an eye to sustainability, faux leather doesn't fit, is what you're saying.
Right. So a sustainable leather would definitely compete with someone who has an animal welfare belief system, but a veg tanned leather would naturally decompose and leave no chemicals in the environment when we're done loving it, right? So it would be circular in that way. So that would be more sustainable, but would absolutely compete with like your vegan belief system.
Now, and it's funny because you just said circular.
Yeah.
So I've heard that phrase before as well, and also enough to be dangerous. So how does that phrase fit into all of this conversation?
Circularity is, well, there's lots of ways to tally it, but I would say on one hand, you could have something that's circular because it can be recycled and repurposed or ground up and made into something else, right? Infinitely, meaning there's like no waste that goes to the landfill. It just keeps going and going. Or the other way that it's circular is it's biocompostable. Like think about wood shavings, like they compost into the earth and new trees can be born, versus like maybe a composite countertop that can be crushed up and turned into gravel at the end of its life. So it has to do with what happens when the product's done being a product.
Okay. And again, just for my own clarity, what we're basically saying is if I were to get faux leather clothing, that would make a strictly vegan designer happy, but a green or sustainable designer would look at me and say, when you're done with that, that's going to be landfill.
And it's going to never decompose for 3,000 to 5,000. We don't even know how many thousands of years, right? Yeah. But the good news is there's new materials coming out made from like mushrooms, and there's some new bio-based leather-esque products coming out. So I'm really grateful to our vegan members on my platform that help keep me updated on those products too.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah. Okay, good. Okay. All right. So now get me back to the original, statement.
Yeah.
How your basic garden variety designer can integrate some sustainable, and of course, you tell me, do we first start with the organization you founded, ID GreenList, and we take it from that point of view on what your goal and your mission is there, and then it all filters out? Or you tell me where we go with this, Megan.
We can talk about how it can be easier. I think I'd rather like not lean too hard into me, but help designers who have really felt they've heard sustainability. They see it at the trade shows, they see more panels on it, et cetera, and kind of make them feel like they know what it is and that it's not something to fear.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Great. So, and then we'll talk about the ID GreenList, of course. Okay. So where do we start with this? So is that something that you see that designers are interested, but there is fear surrounding it? Like what are their challenges? What are you finding?
So what I find is that the impression that designers, perhaps we've got like solopreneur designers who've been practicing for 15, 20 odd years. It's been a while since they've been in school, or maybe they are so talented they didn't need to go to design school, right? They're intimidated by this topic that they see at trade shows, at events, or like in company marketing, like we're sustainable, and they don't really know what it means. So it's intimidating to them. There's also been this positioning, I think, because I don't know, 15, 20 years ago when I graduated design school, yeah, it was harder to find products that would meet these criteria. I knew of like 3 of them at the time. And now there's hundreds. So part of it is just knowing what to look for when you're sourcing, knowing what to ask your reps. And what's really surprising, I think, for a lot of designers who might be intimidated by the sustainability talk, probably half of what you're already using meets these requirements. And there's not much else you need to do other than know how to talk about it and praise it and explain it and educate your clients.
Okay. So that is an interesting point of view there, that you may already be specifying, 50%, 60%, whatever it is, and you're just not aware of it because, look, it's another thing to learn, right?
Oh, yeah.
Like, I mean, honestly, it's so funny because Katie Decker Erickson, she has me and Rick Campos and Jennifer, which I not have the slightest idea how to say her last name unless it's all in front of me. She's, a designer from Nigeria that I've become friends with over the last year or two, and she runs a business school over there, and she's a designer and all the things. But the 4 of us do a quarterly panel.
Cool.
Every month, every year on her podcast. And she hit me with a topic the other day. She's like, oh, our conversation's coming up. What do you think of this topic? I'm like, girl, it is not my lane. And I do not want to read up on it or bone up on it or be ready for it. I'm like, so change the topic or I could not be on the panel this time. Like, right? Like sometimes it's just like, okay, maybe I am sourcing 50% sustainable, but you're right. I don't know how to talk about it because maybe I don't have the bandwidth to go learn about it.
Yeah.
So what do you say to that, right?
Absolutely. I would say, first of all, I think another thing that designers are facing, those especially seasoned designers who've been in the trade for a while, clients are starting to ask for it. Clients are coming and saying, my kid has asthma and we need to be really careful about the chemicals that are on the fabric finishes in our next living room, whatever. And then there's this like SOS where I get text messages, help, I had a discovery call and I want so badly to be there. So that's sort of why I was like, there needs to be a platform for this, because where are people going to learn about it? The information is overwhelming. And you're right. We already have to know about drapery returns, countertops and how to clean them, how the drawer box on a cabinet, how the sheep was sheared for the wool. I mean, interior designers know more about things than I think the world gives us any credit for.
It's the truth.
So let's add on understanding if a product is made sustainably or healthfully, right?
100%, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, and is this also, and I might be down another lane and just say to me, girl, you just took a left turn, come on back. But like, families that have children on the spectrum, and then there's tactile things. Is that part of this too, or that's a different thing?
I think that would be a different specialist, someone that understands like sensory needs for those individuals who experience that. But a big part of what I talk about when I go and do a CEU here and there across the country, a big part of it is, as a designer, at minimum, I believe that we're responsible for installing materials, finishes, furniture that doesn't negatively impact our client's health.
Yeah.
Okay. We have all these plastics, luxury vinyl plank, y'all. It's plastic floors. I don't know who coined it luxury. It was like the marketing genius of the century. It's plastic floors and it's toxic, right? Then years later, we've got people with reproductive cancers and liver diseases, and these things are linked, and we're the ones that specified that. So,
wait, you're talking about like LVT floors?
Yeah, LVT, LVP, whatever you want to call it.
My entire office.
Oh, don't worry. I have a spec home and my house has it too. So,
okay.
So but yeah, no, I mean,
I'm not looking to reproduce again in my lifetime. I can tell you that, but I don't need other ailments because I sat on this for the last 20 years.
Yes. and it's in the fabric finishes, those PFAS, para and polyfluoral alkyl substances. Those are becoming banned. My state banned the sale of those in fabrics and finishes. So, the companies are starting to get onto it. Well, if California, Colorado, and Washington and these states are banning PFAS and those are in our performance finishes, well, we better buck up and change our chemistry. And they have. So, some of the big fabric names have already done this, and you're speccing them.
This is making my brain hurt, Megan.
Oh no.
I hate to say that to you. It does though. It does. Like it really, listen, I cannot fathom an interior designer's job. I mean, 1,100 interviews, and I've said it like a broken record. I know the myriad of details just to create the window treatments for a single home, let alone every single thing that walks through that front door to that house. And I just have so much respect for what you have to do. And I think that's why I love doing what I do, talking to you guys. But when I do think about that, it's no wonder when you say intimidated, I was thinking fear, intimidation, but now I'm just thinking like tired intimidation. Like, God,
that's
I gotta learn that too. I mean, there was something that came out. I don't know where I saw it. You know how all this crap comes across your eyeballs, right?
Yeah.
But it was somebody did a thing and it literally took like 10 items, and it was like bread and I don't know what the hell the other items were, right? But all food items.
Yeah.
And it literally was like the ingredients that were in the bread that you bought, not that your mama made for you, but you bought in the store in 1965, and the ingredients in bread on the shelf now.
Ooh.
And it was just like, whoa,
not good.
And and you're just like, well, no wonder, right? And it's like it really, the world went to such a correction for, let's make it last forever. Let's make our bread last forever. Let's make our floors last forever. Let's make our fabrics last forever. To, but the humans using these items and ingesting these items are not going to last forever because of them.
Yes. Well, and to that point of durability, the argument also would be that some of these materials we would consider sustainable are just as or more durable, right? Like the
You don't have
luxury
to give it
vinyl
up.
floors,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
How long have there been hardwood floors?
Yeah.
You got a time limit. You're gonna have to replace those floors in 12 years. If you've got dogs, make it 8.
Yeah.
So you're gonna have to replace it less. You can refinish hardwood for
Right.
a
For
lot.
100 years.
Yeah.
Right.
Or
Right.
like
You
we've
get
got
into a,
cork floors in castles in Ireland in bathrooms, that have
yeah.
never been replaced. So I think the durability is just in knowing which materials are meant to last too.
Mm, interesting. So, how do you suggest? Listen, if I'm an interior designer and I'm motivated,
Yeah.
I'm interested. Well, that's different, right? Because
Yeah.
I get up in the morning and I go, I want to learn about this. This is awesome,
Yeah.
right? And that's kind of like where I am with food, except I'm just like, stop everybody eating all this stuff, right? Like, I'm like, but I'm not willing to do a whole lot more past that, right?
Yeah.
But if I'm not as motivated,
Mhm.
it isn't the thing I wake up with a burning, desire on my brain,
Yeah.
but it is kind of like the way I feel about food. And all of a sudden I'm thinking about my grandchildren. And like, I look at Vinny and I think, oh, he shouldn't eat that. I'm like, well, he's 77. He's
Mm.
fine. He spent most of his life not eating the chemicals, right?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
he got through the first 25 years without them, right? But like the grandbabies, this is their only existence is
Mhm.
chemically laden foods options, right? Doesn't
Mhm.
mean their mothers has to choose to feed it to them, but it's that same kind of, if I know enough to know that it's not good, but it seems overwhelming enough to learn about it. How do we start, Megan?
Yeah. Well, I think, education is always a good place to start, which is why it was one of the pillars of my platform. Is like, I want fact checked, easy to digest. I've got 7 courses on the green list. You can go and you can learn how things are made and what finishes are what, all those scary names I just said a few minutes ago. We'll talk it down. We'll break it down. I got a member who takes them on the plane. You can take them anywhere, anytime, right? Any device.
Nice.
So you can learn as you feel ready to. But I also think it's one small step at a time. If there's 150,000 plus designers in the US, let's just say, depending on what stat you read, right?
Yeah.
If every single one of us just changed one thing, that's
Mm.
150,000 things that would change in our industry. So I don't pretend to like stand up here and be like, I'm the perfect designer. Like I said, I have luxury vinyl plank in my own home. I had no choice. But, what can you change this quarter? Can you start maybe working towards finding more reclaimed woods? Can you start maybe sourcing one vintage item or keeping one of your clients' furniture items? Repurposing something. And once you get really good at that, what's your next little baby step goal going to be? We contribute to a lot of waste. 9 million tons of furniture thrown away every year, and it's gross, thrown away into the landfill, I should say. There's no away magic place that disappears things.
That's right.
So how can you just make one small choice today to say, hey, you know what? I started that new client and that accent chair, it's in good shape, but that fabric's horrible. Maybe we reupholster it, put it in the den,
Right.
one little thing, and then
Yeah.
build on it.
Mm. So those are some good thoughts there, right? A piece of upholstery that you recover rather than throw it away. It's funny because it reminds me of like, what was it? 2 years ago, my whole life I was an athlete. My whole life I had an undying, non-negotiable rule. I had to exercise 6 days a week, and I say had to, but I love doing it. And but if I got to be the end of the week and I had only done 5 days, it didn't matter how tired I was. I was like, no, you have an agreement with yourself, 6 days. And then 2 years ago, I was like, yeah, I don't have that mojo anymore. So now I'm like, okay, you have to move for 7 minutes before you can put your computer on. And I'm going to tell you what, for 2 years straight, I look at that darn clock and I'm like, all right, it's 6 minutes. All right, one more minute.
5 more minutes. Yeah.
Yeah. You know what I mean? And it's like, it's a little thing, but it does over time, it stacks up. It's not the same as when I was 45, but I'm also better than I was at 58 because I've been doing this for the last 2 years, right? So I get that. You can't negate little changes.
Yeah.
That is the thing. A lot of times we throw up our hands and say, well, what's the difference? You know what I mean? It's like, it doesn't matter. But to your point, with the sheer volume of interior designers specifying products, not just the US, but Canada and across the world, a little change is a big change.
Yeah. And I think the manufacturers have taken note of that too. They're there's a lot out there. It doesn't make it as overwhelming or as hard to find. So making these changes actually can be a lot easier. And it's my goal in life to be the bridge across the waters, right? Let me just get you there and show you the light. It doesn't have to be that overwhelming, but you're right. It can be easy to think, oh, well, what's the use? Which is kind of why I started this, because I couldn't find for myself any place that made it easy, or that was like cataloging things in a way that was just like, let me go find somebody for carpet today.
Yes. Yeah. My Doma Studio is your complete designer toolkit. You know this, right? My Doma makes it easy to streamline your processes, track your projects, communicate with clients, and just get organized. It is created by designers for designers, specifically to address what you need as a design business owner. My Doma is now together with Studio Designer, and they are the industry-leading solution. With 20,000 plus users, more designers choose their platform than any other. Are you ready to reach the next level of profitability and efficiency? Book a demo with My Doma Studio today by going to mydomastudio.com/Luann. That's mydomastudio.com/Luann. So the thing is, when someone like, I know what the other thing I had on my mind was. I can't remember where I heard this and who said it to me, but it was a moment where somebody said, right, but just because not you, but like say some vendor, you know, has a little label on it that it's sustainable or whatever, right? Like it's kind of like, what I love is no sugar added. Oh, okay. Because the thing just started with 30 grams of sugar and you're only supposed to have 25 a day. So, but you're right. Like Vinny, that was a big one for Vinny.
Yeah.
Used to say, there's no sugar added. I'm like, Nagara, it comes with all the sugar built in. You know what I mean?
It's a strawberry. It is sugar.
Right. Exactly. So the thing is, what is that nuance there where that we have to be aware and can't just like read a label? Like, how is that the thing to know what on labels is legit and what is just hype?
Yeah, there are, I don't even know how many dozens of legit third-party certifications for products. Third-party is the key, meaning any company can submit their product for testing. There are companies I've come across who have their own little green drawing, label, logo, whatever and say, all our furniture meets blank, blank, blank foundation. And then I'm like, that's cool. I've never heard of that one before. Go to look it up. Turns out it's like their label they put on their furniture. So no other company can submit for testing or receive that certification or rating or whatever you want to call it. So that's a little bit challenging. We have a course, an entire hour on third-party certifications and ratings, and just knowing which ones are legit and knowing also questions to ask to find out, truly just learn, like looking up who owns this organization or entity, like a Green Guard certification versus, I don't want to like call anyone out, but another certification that's not legit. You're going to go to their website and you're going to see that like, hey, here's how you can submit. They have a process for if you want to submit your product, that's something you can keep your eyes out for. But there's a lot of greenwashing is what we call that.
Okay, that's called greenwashing.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, like somebody laid that on me one day in a conversation. I was like, oh my God.
Yeah.
Like, so it's not enough. Like you have to know this and then look for it. Then you have to wonder if somebody's like blatantly misleading you.
Absolutely.
On it, right? Yeah. So what else do you find? So here's the thing. Not necessarily just younger generation, but I'm sure all generations are looking more for this result, this deliverable from their interior designers, right? Are you finding that to be the case?
Yeah. So what I started with just, I don't know, have been in business for 12 years. So about 6 years ago, I decided I wanted to like really go full into sustainable instead of like sneakily doing it. I put a little question on my website for him. How important is sustainability to you on this project? Just wanted to like field test the idea to see. And I had some drop downs like, it's the reason I found you. I've heard of it, but I'd like to learn more. Or like, what was the other option? I'll do it if
Could
it doesn't
care less.
cost more, and then
I'll
like
do it
not
if
at
it doesn't
all.
cost more. That's interesting.
Yeah. So I field
Good way to put it.
tested drop downs for a few years, and I was finding that people were either like all in or not. So I changed it now since I'm like running with it in my messaging for my design firm. It's full on like yes or no. And I would take it. I live in Colorado. We're a little bit more green. But I would find about 70% of my clients are selecting yes. And then really what that does is it opens a door for me on my discovery call. Oh my gosh, I'm so excited to see that you said sustainability is important. What does that mean to you? This could be a woman who wants to be sure that she can use non-toxic cookware to cook her organic food, and that health factor is really important. This could be someone who has a respiratory illness and we need to make sure we don't have any chemical finishes. This could be someone who's experienced mold in an environment and is going through like the trauma of trying to like not ever have that experience again. So it's really, and then we've got clients who are like, I'm really concerned about my carbon footprint and I want to do reuse. So it can't just equally be applied to every client. It means something different to them all. And for some, they may say no, but then as you become acquainted with them during your long process, you'll find that like they eat organic food and they buy vegan makeup, and you're like, oh, hold the phone. We can insert some of this too. So people just don't know what they don't know.
Right. I love that you start with what does it mean to you if somebody says I'm interested in it, right? Because it is so personal, and it could be anywhere from completely informed till I have no idea what I'm talking about. And for you personally, or any designer that is going to integrate this into their practice, it does matter. Are you talking to a full blown, I get it, I'm there with you, or it matters to me, but the truth is I don't know a darn thing. It would be like if somebody said to me, how interested are you in your children not eating chemicals? I'd be like, very interested.
Yeah.
Right. And then you get me on the phone. Well, what does that mean to you? I don't know, slice idea. Just stop poisoning them.
Just
you know what
don't
I mean?
let it happen.
Yeah. Like, I don't know how to do it. I don't know what's going on. Right. So, but I think that is, it's so, look, it's sales 101 is what it is.
It truly is.
Tell me what is important to you so I can figure out how to deliver it back to you.
Well, and I would argue even for those designers who may be afraid that this puts some kind of brand on their business, like it's going to open doors for you because you might be the only designer in your area asking that question. Yeah, and when they have to decide between you and the two other they talk to on the phone or they head over for the consult, if you're the one talking about how gas is super dangerous and is linked directly to childhood asthma, and you recommend induction because they have small children and the other two designers didn't talk about that, you're going to win that job. So more business for you. So I don't think this is it's going to make me like less desirable. I see this as opening far more doors for designers.
No, I agree, because even if I didn't know enough to know about it, if I'm sitting with children or seniors in my house, even my, you know what I mean? It's like, oh, well, why do I need those chemicals? If you can figure out another way and it's not going to cost me 3 times as much money and it's just a this or that choice, why wouldn't I want to make the good choice? Right? Yeah.
Absolutely.
Okay. And it's funny because I don't know. I think when we talked a couple of months ago, Megan, we mentioned the interview I did with the Sustainable Home Furnishings Council.
Oh, the Sustainable Furnishings. Yeah, right? They're great.
Yeah. And I feel like, and that was, I don't know if it was 3 years ago, 4 years ago, right? It was really a new conversation then.
Yeah.
To your point, 6 years ago, you turned the corner and started to lead with it. But I kind of like, I didn't look it up because it just came to my mind as we're talking. But I feel like in that conversation, it was revealed at that point that something like 65% of the consumers were interested in sustainable design.
Yeah.
So in a survey of consumers, 65% said they were interested. And then the survey question was, and do you know how to access items and decor and stuff that's sustainable? Like, and it was like 95% were like, no idea.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And that was that interviewing designers or consumers? Do you
consumers.
know? Okay, interesting.
Yeah, like cool. It was like,
that's cool.
So it really spoke to what you just said.
Yeah.
That if you're a designer that talks about it that you might not even be aware that there's consumers who are looking for it, but it will be a differentiator
Yeah.
to you versus another designer, because basically whatever the exact stats were, and we'll link the show in the show notes, but whatever the exact stats were, it was overwhelmingly, I know that was 65% were interested,
That's
but it was a
wild.
really high number. And
Mhm.
whatever the answer, the answer was like, but I don't know how to do it. Like, I don't know how to get to it.
Yeah.
I don't know a designer that does it. I don't know how to do it when I go to the store myself.
Right.
Like, I'm lost.
And that organization is great. Like their mission is bringing transparency to consumers for these manufacturers that are members of their platform. And so on our, we rank manufacturers. We have a lot of questions. They have a ton of questions that they ask manufacturers as well. And if they have a Sustainable Furnishings Council membership, they get extra points in our system for we note that on their profile page and we link it. So I mean, it's a really important good starting point too. So if you're sourcing on a job and you're like, I really use manufacturer ABC all the time, I wonder, just literally go to their website and look at our members and type it in and see if they come up. You could be surprised.
Right. And then I gotta believe, from just a logical standpoint, that just because a manufacturer is listed doesn't mean everything they do is sustainable, right? There's got to be some parsing through, right?
Yeah. And so that's where I, as a perfectionist, as designers, most of us are, I started to become frustrated. So I have my degree, BFA in sustainable interior design. And I was like, I have all this knowledge. I don't know how to practice it. I was getting frustrated because I felt like there are some manufacturers who list out every good thing they're doing on Sustainable Furnishings Council. And sometimes when you go there, it just says member. And you're like, oh, well, now I have to call a rep. Now I have to go to their website. Do they have a sustainability declaration? Are they doing ESG reports? Blah, blah, blah. It's like a new research project.
Yeah.
And I was like, I just want one place where this is all combined and I can click and click and click and it's all here. And that's what I aimed to create, was like a one-stop shop.
And that's what ID GreenList is.
That's my hope. And it's improving every quarter. We release new enhancements or new manufacturers or new scores. This quarter is coming to be a new score. But yeah, I think it's a good point. Like, there are different ways. If you ask a manufacturer, tell me about your packaging, and they say, well, the cardboard box is recyclable. That's great. But like, is there expanded polystyrene? Is there styrofoam in it? Are you doing a poly wrap, like plastic wrapping around the mirror and then packing it with foam corners and then just the box is recyclable? Like, tell me more about your packaging. So they'll lose points if they say they use EPS styrofoam. That's a negative deduction, right? Mm-hmm. I love when they're like, oh, well, our packing peanuts are biocompostable. They just wash away in the sink.
Oh, so there is a way to do packaging that is sustainable.
Or like a furniture manufacturer decided recently they got more points because they took away the styrofoam corners and replaced them with that like highly compressed cardboard, which is recyclable. There's also difference between recyclable cardboard and compostable cardboard. So
which is better?
Compostable would, because recycling would take resources and energy and water and electricity to recycle, right?
Oh, interesting.
Granted, most people are probably going to recycle their cardboard regardless, but theoretically, anything that's biodegradable could just like be broken up, torn up, and put in your garden, and you can grow vegetables on it, right?
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So tell me more about this ID GreenList that you have. It's a membership-based community, Megan?
Yeah. So we've got 2 levels of membership at this time. We've got all access members and list only access. Everybody gets access to the green list. And if you're a list only or all access, you still get to start with the strategy session with me. What the all access members get, in addition to access to the list and the private Facebook group, is some bi-monthly coaching. We do some like learning lounges. We have a whole slew of like downloads. Like, we're coming out with a third-party ratings guide. You just download that and it's like your cheat sheet to your third-party ratings. Cleaning and care. How do I clean and care sustainably for things? What are good cleaning products? So any guide we create, access, download, you can get it anytime. And then we do like meetups at trade show, did a little K-Biz meetup, and we toured the new American home because that was a sustainable net zero home, luxury home. So there's a little bit more perks with all access. But if you're like, I just want the list and lesson 1, you can hop in there at that level too.
Okay. And then when you have the all access, in addition to the things you just mentioned, I
Mhm.
think at the beginning of the conversation, you talked about like learning modules. You said,
Yeah.
yeah, like the different courses
Yep.
that you take that people can take so that because that's that rub point, right? Like
Yeah.
I don't want to go research it all myself. I don't want to figure it out. I want Megan, I want you to just tell me.
Tell me how to do it, girl. Yeah, so it was really important for me, number one, that my courses were IDCEC approved. So they're, you can get points for them towards your professional organizations, which means they also check my references and it's like legitimate. That was a
Right.
really important piece for me. But we have right now 7, and they follow, it's called the Principles of Sustainable Sourcing is the course, and there's 7 lessons, and it follows the product life cycle. How are the raw goods harvested, and how do we consider them sustainable when? How are things made, and what would be sustainable practices? What to ask your reps to find out. Then we go through like waste, packaging, shipping, installation considerations, care and maintenance and cleaning. What happens to something at the end of life? So the course really breaks down all the stages of what's called the product life cycle. And then I have a big one on third-party certifications because I think y'all need to know
Right.
about that. And yeah, so any courses I develop in the future will also be available to all access members. I don't know yet what my next topic will be, but I'm hoping it will be I'm thinking probably more around building efficiency and water efficiency. That's a big topic right now
What does that mean? What do you
with water efficiency.
Yeah.
So there's
Like not wasting the water
yeah,
when
so
running a bath for your grandchildren?
yeah, for sure. So fresh water is a limited resource, and I'm no expert on this topic, but it's becoming something I'm becoming curious about, so to speak. It's a limited resource, and if we keep going as humans at the pace we're going, we will not have enough water, fresh water, to sustain this pace for very many more years. So there's a really big push in the plumbing industry to create more water efficient products, to create homes that have water efficiency built into them, and to educate people. I mean, I think it's hard for people to conceive this idea that like we could run out of water, but potable,
like my brain
yeah,
can't
like
even
the ocean is so
wrap
big. What do
around
you,
it.
yeah,
That's
like
it.
the most of the world is water.
Rains every day. Just get the rainwater. What's the
Yeah,
problem?
but like potable, drinkable water that's suitable for humans to bathe and drink is
Yes.
much more
Different.
limited. And that's what we really need to protect. So, if you're listening and you're speccing plumbing today, look for that water sense. It's not required by every state. I live in Colorado, as I mentioned before. So we actually have to comply with water. We're in a dry state. Our low flow, we have low flow faucets and toilets. It's a myth. I'm telling you guys, they engineered little aerators to put in there to make the water pressure better with less water. So if you see something that says it's not eligible for sale in California or Colorado, don't buy it. It's not water efficient. It'll say that on the website. Or you'll see the little water sense like logo. It looks like a raindrop kind of symbol.
Yeah. Yeah. And so what you're saying is that the technology has evolved to the point where you're using less water, but they have done something with the pressure to make it feel similar.
Yeah,
or
so there's
better.
lots of engineering goes into like these little aerators, and and it's funny, I'll travel to other states and I'll turn on the shower in the hotel or Airbnb or whatnot, and I'll be like, wow, they don't have low flow fixtures here, and it's just a lot more water coming at you.
Yes.
But I think there's been sort of some myths floating around that like, oh, the toilets don't flush in Colorado or the water doesn't flow, and it's like it actually works better with less water. So
Wow.
yeah.
Well, and it's funny because I don't know if it's still a thing, but at some point in the recent, I don't know, 8 to 10 years, it became a thing to put like 19,000 shower heads in your shower.
Yeah.
Like,
it's like a car wash in there. You got like side sprayers.
Certain things I just never get.
I think that was definitely associated with like a luxury. I don't have a lot of clients, even my higher end clients, they would prefer just like a hand shower usually.
Yeah.
So yeah, I haven't had a request for that, thankfully.
I know. But I remember, like, it's a good 3-4 years since I'm regularly selling at Window Works, and of course going into the primary baths and different things. But there was a run for a while that it was like, wait, you only have 3 shower heads? Like, what are you, poor? And I remember, like, I literally was just like, I just don't get it.
Yeah.
Like, you're only in here for 5 or 6 minutes. It's, you're not that big. We're not having a party in here. Like, it's not a group activity to shower.
Yeah. Well, I've done.
Even if you want 2 people,
You
in
got
there,
your
you
partner
just
in
don't need
there.
15
Yeah.
shower heads. Yeah.
We had one. I think I've had one where it's like husband, wife. He's taller and he likes a hotter shower than she did, and so we made sure the valves were like the thermostatic settings were like separate, so he could have his hot water and she could have her warm water while they were in the shower together.
Okay.
But
So now I can see that, right? But
Yeah.
they're not planning to run them all at the same time. It's like when he gets in, he uses this shower head and these.
Well, they
controls.
could shower together because they were on opposite sides, and then
Okay.
his would be hotter and hers would be warmer, cold, whatever. I don't know, different temps for different preferences. But again, like because we're in Colorado, they were at least low flow. I mean, it's like taking 2 showers at once, but nothing with the body sprayers and the like side jets and
I mean, even if you're not following it, just feels wasteful. Like that always my thought. I was like, is this totally necessary? Why don't you just jump in your amazing pool in the backyard if you want to be wet all over?
Yeah.
At the same time.
Good point.
Right? Okay, so we join ID GreenList if we want.
Yeah.
You have all the deliverables that you mentioned, and we will have a thing in the show notes about it, of course. But is it monthly? Pop in, pop out? Is it yearly? What's the commitment and all the things?
Yeah, so it's an annual membership and there's a divide. So do you want me to say the cost of the? You
can, and we're just going to preface it by this is 2025.
Okay.
So if you're listening in 2030, it might not be the same.
It
probably won't. And if it is, I'm going to give Megan a hard time.
Do you want me to do my unique offer now?
Yeah, go right ahead.
Cool. Awesome. Yeah. Okay. So yes, our platform is an annual membership, and our all access members at this time join for $7.99 for the first year, and then it drops to $5.99 for years moving forward because we assume you're going to take all those courses in the first year. And then for our list only members who'd like to get on the list and learn a little bit, it's $199. You do have to take lesson 1 to unlock the list, just because we want you to have some basis of confidence and education moving forward with this. And then for anybody that joins, if you're a designer listening and you would like to join and you tell me that you heard about me from Luann's podcast when you fill out your intake form, I'm adding an extra 1-hour project-specific audit. So this could be like you're coming in, a fresh new client, and you're like, how can we make this sustainable from the get-go? You have a year to use it, so you could save it up. Or maybe you're coming right in and you have a SOS and you're like, heck, I'm in the middle of this. Give me an hour. I need to know like what I could do to clean up my act and green it up. So use it at your discretion.
I love it. That's great. And the thing is, you've got the ongoing learning lounge, like you mentioned, the ongoing group sessions that you do. So there is a lot of, look, I think it's becoming kind of baseline. It's not quite baseline yet, right? But it's kind of becoming sort of baseline. Like I can see that, first of all, just 9.5 years of podcasting, and I see the evolution of the conversation.
Nice.
It was never brought up, and now it's consistently brought up, to your point, in panels at market and people who are talking about it on the podcast and all the things. And I do think you take it out 3-5 years from now, it reminds me of the inflection point with motorized window treatments.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And I complain about it all the time. But thankfully, I got out.
Right.
There was a period of time where it was like, a little bit of knowledge, you can fluff it through. And then all of a sudden it was like, dang it, I actually have to learn this stuff, like hardwire versus, 110 volt versus 20 volt. Like it was just, I spent a year going back and forth to Billy going, okay, Billy, tell me again. 20 volt, Hunter Douglas is 20 volt, but the house is 110 volt with Lou. Transformer. And I'd be like, it was the funniest thing. I couldn't keep it straight in my mind because the word transformer wasn't meaning anything to me.
Oh,
it really wasn't. It's stupid. It's literally descriptive.
Yeah, I was
what
say,
it is.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. But I'm just like, long word, right? And one day after the 90th time, he looks at me and goes, Lou, we're going to take the 20 volt and we're going to transform it to 110 volts in the house. He goes, but in order to do that, you have to order the transformer. And then I was like, Oh,
I feel like they could call it a converter because I would totally hit that a little harder.
I mean,
And yeah,
like you can't make it up because it
yes.
is very descriptive, but boom, it just is like a detail that I wouldn't grasp.
Well, and to that point, they have a solar panel now for their power. It's like a solar pane you can stick in the window that operates it. So that's
Oh
kind of their
my gosh.
sustainability
Yes,
play.
I didn't want to know these
Oh,
things.
but
No.
you're right,
Yeah,
though. I mean, I see it as a way of future-proofing your business. The
I do
International
too.
Green Construction Code came out a few years ago, and all the building codes update every few years, and they're adopting that as they go. So
Mm.
I don't want you to be a designer in an area that doesn't have these things, and the next year your building codes change, and you're like, holy heck, I feel totally just blindsided. Like, I
Right.
want to future-proof your business. I want you to make more money. I want you to find bigger clients, more clients, and win jobs over designers who aren't there yet. I would love
That's
for
it.
every single designer to be there. That'd be
Yes.
my dream of a perfect future where we're all just so green and the world isn't, the world sustains us
Getting
forever.
attacked by interior design specifications.
Yeah.
The attack of the design
Yes.
specifications. No, but I mean, I think it's, I am, that's really what I'm saying is I love the way you're talking about it, future-proofing your business, because
Yeah.
I do think it just seems inevitable. It's
Yeah.
just the evolution of our awareness of, it started out as a few people that were future thinkers and interested, and now it has become much more mainstream. And, you get ahead of it, right?
Yeah.
Get ahead of it. Yeah.
And be the
Yeah.
go-to, be that guru in your area. Like, when contractors think of someone, like if there's green contractors in your area, when they think of someone, oh, we want to work with
Well,
Megan,
that's a great point, Megan. It's like, that's a great point. There's two opportunities, when you just brought to my mind with
Mhm.
contractors. One is the contractor who already is like, this is
Yeah.
my lane,
Yeah.
right? So that contractor is looking for a designer who lives in that lane.
Yeah.
But also, the contractor that's working on a project and the homeowner is in that lane, and that contractor's sort of like, I have no idea what I'm doing over here.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right. And
Oh,
so then he or she, that contractor, wants to partner with somebody who's more knowledgeable, right?
yeah. Yeah. And I
Yeah.
think if you are doing remodel or new construction, addition work, etc., like, that's going to be a great resource for leads regardless. But I recently went to like a specific green building kind of building science builder group to connect, and like every single person in that room was like, I didn't even know designers could be green. And I was like, oh, this is my group. Like,
Oh,
you know what I mean? I'm
wow.
like, cool. I want to present. I want to show up every month. I want them to be like, when I have a client ask for a designer, I want them to be like, Megan, I have a new project for you. Right. Like,
Yes.
just get out there. I mean, it's good networking for you regardless, but it's another pathway, another avenue.
Yeah. I love it. I love it. So many opportunities here, really.
Mhm. Yeah.
Right. Did we leave anything out of the conversation, Megan, that's important to bring up?
I don't think so. I think like it can be an overwhelming topic, and I could spit facts and get on a soapbox all day, but I think if you're thinking this is intimidating, you don't want to jump in now, that's fine. Follow me on Instagram. We talk it out. I give some tips for free on my newsletter. Like, there's a lot to digest, truly. And if you just want to dip your toes in, find some newsletters near you to subscribe to and read once a month.
So you put out a newsletter.
Yeah, so we have an email list, and we'll put that
Do
out.
we have to be a member to get
No.
the newsletter? No.
You have to sign up for the newsletter,
Yeah,
but
right?
other than
And
that,
so
it's
how do
free.
we sign up for that?
Yeah, so if you just go to idgreenlist.com, a thing will pop up and ask you
Yeah.
to
No,
join it.
I mean, listen,
Yeah.
for the person who's like,
Yeah.
okay, I'm
Maybe.
you got me, but I'm not there yet, right?
Yeah.
Like maybe a little passive learning with the newsletter each
Yeah.
month, and then on Instagram, are you ID GreenList as well,
Yeah.
or is it your design for? Okay,
Mhm.
okay. And so I do think, look, at the very least, you got to start thinking about it, and
Yeah.
those are low friction ways to start
Yeah.
thinking about it. But I also, listen, I've had several conversations at this point about these different areas, right?
Mhm.
Green design, sustainable, vegan, wellness, biophilic, all the things. And what you've done with the ID Green List, I think, is kind of a secret sauce thing there. Because if I'm actually at the point where I'm either interested but still intimidated to
Mhm.
learn it, or I'm actually just like, right, I do need to future proof my
Mhm.
business, having a source to go in a organized way with monthly communication with
Yes.
the guru. Like, I just feel like that
Mm.
feels so much more doable to me than, okay, thanks, Lou, for telling me about sustainable design, but thanks for leaving me on my own on just
Yeah.
told me it's good. And you just told me I can use it as a differentiator and I could get more business, but thanks for the homework list I have. Right? It feels
Yes.
like, okay, go learn it this way. It feels easier, you know?
Yeah, and I think the other part that I really enjoy and my members enjoy is the community part. Like
Yes.
we go to High Point, we all meet up. We go, who's green? Who'd you talk to? I'm like, oh, I found this really cool shower head that does this, and the
Um,
support or the hey, help! I'm sourcing cork floors, and who have you used? The blah blah blah, and getting like actual designers to answer
yes.
you.
Yes. Yes. I can see the value in it 100%. Okay. So
Nice.
so it's idgreenlist.com.
Yeah, ID stands for Interior Design. Just seems shorter when I picked it.
Yep. Nope. I love it. I love it. And they can go, and if they decide they want to join
Yeah.
your community and they say they heard about it through this episode,
Yeah.
then you will give them that consultation.
Yeah,
That's
we'll
awesome.
audit a whole project. We'll make it, and you can save it up. You can save it up for your whole first year. You don't have to, there's no time limit on it except for the year. So if you come
Okay.
in 3 months after you join with a client that needs it, I'm here for
Yeah.
you.
Okay. I love it. I love it. Megan, thank you so
Yes,
much. I
thank
think what you're
you.
doing is really very special. It's
Thanks.
clear you're passionate about it.
Mm.
It's also clear you're knowledgeable about it, which is key. So
Thank you.
yeah, it's a tough topic and you
It
can't do
is.
it wrong.
Oh, no.
So, but thank you. Thanks for joining me today. Appreciate it.
Yes, I appreciate it. Thanks for your time. Thanks, Luann.
Okay, so much good stuff here with Megan. Thing is, here's what I want you to take away. A couple things. First, that sustainable design isn't really, it's not checking a box, right? But it's also not compromising on your aesthetic. So the thing it's about making informed, thoughtful choices, ones that benefit your client and the planet. Second thing is you're probably already doing sustainable things in your company without realizing it. Maybe the rug you specified last month, maybe the non-toxic paint that you love, maybe the local mill worker you use. All of these can be part of a bigger sustainable story. And then third, Megan emphasized something very important, and that is that education is key. You don't have to become a sustainability expert in a minute. But the thing is, what she said is one small change, learning about materials, asking better questions, using resources like her green list can lead to meaningful impact. When you especially think about, what do they say? There's 80,000 interior designers in the US alone. Think about if every one of you made tiny changes. That is a big impact, right? Now, what are some of those things that you can do today? Megan suggests, just start having the conversation with your clients. Do you think about sustainability? Does it mean anything to you? You'll find that it means more things to more people, but they don't necessarily bring it up. But if you bring it up, you might hit a nerve, and then therefore you hit something where they stay clung to you, right? Second thing she said is audit your sourcing habits. Maybe just one category at a time. Again, going for that, let me make a small change that will result in a big change across the whole industry. And then, of course, I'm recommending that you go to Interior Design GreenList and explore Megan's principles of sustainable sourcing. And Megan said, if you mention this podcast, you will receive a complimentary 1-hour project-specific audit. I mean, how can you turn that down, right? Now, while we're talking about sourcing, if you want a smoother, more efficient process for sourcing, Design Trade Service is your bestie. Design Trade Service gives you access to exclusive designer pricing and takes the back office stress out of product orders, right? So from logistics to white glove delivery, they've got you covered. It's funny because I just had a designer say to me yesterday, I'm not sure what to do. I have one piece I've got to get delivered, but I want it white glove and I'm not going to use a warehouse for one piece. I got you, right? That's Design Trade Service, okay? So no fees, no fuss. Visit designtradeservice.com/Luann, and this will help you clean up that back end, especially if you're a small team. Now, If today's conversation opened your eyes to the role sustainability can play in your business and you want to go deeper, I suggest you go back and listen to my episode with Chloe Bullock. Chloe is an award-winning UK designer and pioneer in vegan, ethical, and sustainable interiors. Her stories, her values, and her book, Sustainable Interior Design, are must-haves for any of you walking this path. All right? Then don't miss my conversation with Maya Crown and Price Latimer of Alchemist Paint. These two are reimagining what healthy paint should be with mineral-based formulas that are safe, gorgeous, and free of the junk that lingers in most conventional paints. Now, both of these episodes are linked in the show notes, and I'm certain that they'll both give you ideas and ways to explore this topic further. Megan, thank you for sharing your expertise. I think it's awesome. First of all, who knew that there was a degree in this, right? But I think it's just awesome that you have such an in-depth knowledge, that you combine that with your incredible passion for this, and now you are helping the rest of us so that we don't have to do the long, long road that you've been down. So thank you for sharing your expertise with us and for being a resource that the rest of the industry can look to. And thank you for listening. I appreciate so much that you do. Decide to be excellent. Thank you for joining me today. This podcast is a production of Luann Nigara, Inc. If you want to know more about me, my books, or Luann University, go to luannnigara.com. And if you are interested in having WindowWorks help you with your next window treatment or awning project in the New York, New Jersey metro area, go to windowworksnj.com to learn more. Have an excellent day.